Nobody tells you how emotional leadership can be. Hi entrepreneurs, I'm Vicky Brown, and you're in the right place if you want to engage your team, boost your business, and grow your leadership muscle. You know, you hear a lot about strategy, about growth, about managing payroll and mastering marketing and figuring out which tech tools to use. But what people rarely say out loud is how much of this job, especially when you're running your own business, is emotional. You see, building a team is personal, especially when it's your business, your dream, and your risk on the line. These aren't just employees. These are people you hired, people you've worked alongside, people who've helped carry the vision. So when the time comes, and it always does, to let someone go or replace them or make the hard call to restructure, it doesn't just show up as a line item or a form. It shows up in your gut. It shows up as guilt, as grief, as that lingering question, am I doing the right thing? No, this isn't a conversation about policies or processes. This is about what it feels like to be responsible for someone's livelihood and what it costs you emotionally to make hard decisions as a leader. Let's start with why it hits harder than you expect. When you let someone go, you're not just ending a working relationship. You're ending a version of the story you thought you were writing. Maybe you saw promise in this person. Maybe you really wanted it to work. Maybe they were there in the early days and you thought they'd be with you for the whole long haul. So when it doesn't work out, even if it's absolutely the right decision, it hurts because it disrupts the story and it disrupts your idea of who you are as a leader. The guilt creeps in fast. You start to wonder, did I do enough? Did I give them enough chances? Did I train them properly? Could I have saved this? And even if you know rationally that this is what the business needs, emotionally, it still lands as a loss. And there's grief in that, real grief, especially when the person isn't terrible, especially when they've been loyal or kind or just human. It's one thing to deal with someone who's toxic, but it's another thing entirely when you're dealing with someone who's decent, just not right for the role, or not growing fast enough, or simply not aligned anymore. That's when the emotional toll gets real, because now it feels like failure, like you failed them, like maybe you failed yourself. And that's especially true for founders, people who want to do right by others, who believe in second chances, who carry a sense of responsibility for the people around them. It's one of the best parts of you. But it can also become a weight if you're not careful. Of course, there are a few situations that tend to bring all of this to the surface. Letting go of someone who just isn't a fit, but they're nice. They're loyal. Maybe the team likes them, but the work isn't there. The performance is lagging. You've tried, and it's not changing. You see, that's hard. Or maybe you're facing downsizing. Cash is tight. The runway is short. And you've got to make tough calls to keep the business alive. Those decisions aren't just strategic, they're emotional because you know what they mean for people's lives. Or maybe you're replacing someone who was there in the early days, someone who helped get things off the ground, but the business has outgrown them, and you know it. You've known it for a while, and still that loyalty pulls at you. That sense of obligation keeps you in it longer than you should be. And then there's cleanup mode. When you inherit someone else's hire or finally address a long-avoided issue, it's frustrating, but it's also draining because you're dealing with fallout you didn't create, but still have to clean up. And in all those moments, emotional landmines just pop up. You second-guess yourself. You wonder if you've missed something, if you didn't try hard enough. You wrestle with that internal tug of war, wanting to be kind, but needing to protect the business. And sometimes you avoid the conversation altogether. You delay, you stall, you tell yourself, maybe next month, because you don't want to be the bad guy and you don't want to be the reason someone's hurting. And then, after you finally make the call, that post-decision spiral hits. You start questioning everything. Your leadership, your judgment, whether you're really cut out for this. Well, here's the truth. Those feelings are normal, and they don't have to define you. You can feel compassion and still make hard decisions. You can care deeply about your people and still make changes that are necessary for the health of the business. Guilt isn't always a sign you did the wrong thing. In fact, more often than not, it's just a sign that you care, that you're human. And grief? Well, that's a part of growth. Necessary change still carries loss. If you don't acknowledge it, you'll carry it with you, and then it festers. But if you allow yourself to feel it, process it, and move through it, it won't take you down. It won't paralyze you. When you're in one of these moments, here's how you lead with integrity. Be clear and be kind. That means no long, drawn-out lead-ins, no confusing language, no sugarcoating that leaves the other person guessing. Say what needs to be said, with empathy, but with clarity. Clarity is compassion. Next, own your decision. Don't blame HR, don't blame the budget, don't blame the board. If this is your business, then this is your call. So be honest about that. It builds trust, even in hard conversations. Support the exit when you can. Offer resources, a reference if appropriate, and always, always offer dignity. The way someone leaves matters just as much as how they came in. And finally, don't forget to take care of yourself in the process. Talk to someone you trust, a mentor, a peer, a friend who actually gets it. Don't isolate. And don't pretend this doesn't affect you. It does. And that's okay. Because here's what this really means for you as a leader. Letting someone go doesn't make you heartless. It doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're doing the real work of leadership, the hard, unglamorous, necessary work that doesn't show up in highlight reels. Every time you make a call like this, one that's right but hard, you're strengthening your instincts. You're refining your boundaries. You're building courage. You're growing. And that's what building a team really takes. Not just vision, not just strategy, but the emotional endurance to carry the weight of hard decisions and the wisdom to keep going anyway. Growing a team means sometimes outgrowing the past. And while that comes with loss, it also clears space for what's next. And that's what leadership is all about. Remember, your inspired leadership is the secret sauce to having a high-performance team and a wildly successful business you'll love. I'll see you next time on Leader's Journey.